Good evening. I am doing a freezer clean out. I need to make space in the freezer to add some frozen goods, and I see these blackberries that I've had since last summer. We want to make space in our freezer because we're trying to only go to the grocery store once a month. July is blackberry season in Missouri, so with it currently being May, I want these blackberries gone by July. So I pull out 3 bags of blackberries and defrost them in the refrigerator, just letting them defrost naturally in the refrigerator. It took about 2 days. So the 3 bags of blackberries ended up being basically 9 cups of blackberries. So these are the blackberries defrosted. The ingredients for blackberry cobbler is basic sugar, butter, cornstarch, and biscuit mix. You don't need many things to make a blackberry cobbler. This is the first time I've ever made a blackberry cobbler. I have definitely eaten a lot of blackberry cobbler, but never made one before. So I need 6 cups of blackberries. I do strain out that water. I didn't freeze it with that liquid. It just happened naturally. You know how you get condensation with fruits in your freezer. So I drain out that liquid and I add the 3/4 cups of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and I mix that all together. The biscuit mix brand that I'm using also required milk. So altogether, this recipe calls for 6 ingredients. So I made the biscuit mix per the package, per the directions on the box. This is my favorite mix that I use for pancakes. It's the first time I've used it for biscuits. No, I take that back. I think this is what Robert uses for chicken and dumplings. It's what was in the cupboard. I just mention it because the biscuits didn't really flatten out while baking, and I kind of thought they would. So the recipe calls to put the in 2-inch globs of biscuit mix on top of the blackberry cobblers, and it was only little blackberries peeking out, and I didn't have that happen. I used all the mixture, and you can see plenty of blackberries. So maybe I chose the wrong biscuit mix. And then I was actually supposed to put 2 tablespoons of butter cut up before the biscuits, so I'm adding the butter now. I don't know if it made a difference. I don't really see the point of the butter right now. I don't know if that was necessary. You know what? I am not the best baker in the entire world, so I could be making mistakes. What did I do wrong with this butter? I don't know. Let me know. And then now you bake it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. You pull it out and you add melted butter to the top of the biscuits to make them brown. They're already looking brown to me, so I don't know if butter was necessary. So honestly, if you don't like butter, who doesn't like butter? But if you're trying to be healthy, I don't think butter was required in this recipe. I could be wrong. So feel free to critique me at the bottom. I will not be offended whatsoever. This definitely isn't my best recipe video at all. But you know what? I started. I'm gonna finish, even if there's flaws. So so you bake it for 10 more minutes. And my husband, this is after 10 more minutes. So altogether it was 40 minutes. My husband loved it. He ate it right away. Well, after it cooled down for about 5 minutes. He's already ate half the pan. I tasted it. I liked it. I just wish the biscuits would have spread out more so you don't see as much as the blackberry. But overall, taste-wise, it was good. So the second part, it still had 3 cups of blackberries left. I didn't want them to go to waste, so I boiled them down to make a syrup. I have made blackberry syrup before, so I knew this was going to turn out good. So 3 cups of blackberries, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 cup of water, and 1 tablespoon of lemon or lime juice, whatever you have handy. I happen to have lime. I think my husband makes a lot of mojitos, so that's what I used. So you mix all of this together and you boil it on top of the stove. You want to bring it to a rapid boil, and then once you reach a rapid boil, you want it to simmer for 10 more minutes. So altogether it should take about 15 minutes to cook down. And you want to stir constantly. There's sugar in it that will burn if you're not careful. So definitely stir this constantly for the 15 minutes it takes to cook. And then once it has cooked it down enough, you strain out the blackberries. You don't have to. I don't like seeds in my syrup. I like my syrup to be just liquid, and so I do strain it out. I have a glass bowl, and I have a fine mesh strainer, and I make a complete mess. As you can see, I'm splattering this stuff everywhere. I know, I'm a hot mess. So I don't want the seeds, and so you empty it into the sifter. I should have had a bigger bowl. That was my mistake. I should have had a base bigger bowl. And then I'm pushing down the mixture so all of the juice strains. I don't want to lose any juice. And so I'm pushing it down, getting all the juice I can, getting all the syrup I can. So this recipe is not for canning. This recipe is for refrigerator stable. It will be good in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 weeks. I'll have it gone in a couple days because I'm going to use it for waffles. So you pour your mixture into a glass jar and then let it cool before you put it in the fridge. And didn't make much, but for me and my husband, this will be a couple days for breakfast. It's great. Definitely recommend making blackberry syrup.